Hey folks, this is Ben Gussel. How's it going? The house with lights. One of the other ones, the house with has lights. Really had no intention of going in that direction with this video, but why not start with the house with lights? Just got back from a very long day. Well, not like a jam-packed day full of teaching, but I was definitely industrious. I have some things in my mind I want to talk about with you guys. Not quite a full moon up, but it's, yeah, partial moon. So, let's see. Oh, let's go out now. Let's go this way. Actually, yeah. Let's start this one out by talking about my gardening stuff this year. So I bought some stuff. Oh, this is way back in, was it June? May or June? At Molbach's. And it's kind of, Molbach's can be pricey, but you know, they have amazing stuff there. It's just an immaculate store. Woodinville in general is pretty ritzy, but I like Woodinville. It's great. So, but I had some stuff happen to my squash plants, and I thought because it smelled okay, kind of a, I don't know, it's kind of like a sap type of thing that formed on my squash leaves. I thought it was just because they were getting old, but I guess it's some kind of mildew that can kind of not affect your, can negatively affect your squash plant. But I mean, it's already mid-October. My strawberries are always my first priority, followed by the squashes, tomatoes, and green beans. And um, you know, I mean, kind of like, so it's been hard to get to my garden. It's been hard. I'm gonna do another kind of lap here. It's been hard because, sure, my life is busy. There's a lot of things going on. Which I'm gonna get to this video, the next. Some of you guys watch my videos now from Asia. Some ladies that I have been chatting with. That is awesome. I, as you know, have always been myself in my videos. Never been anybody else other than myself. I know other people have been other kinds of people. They do that for entertainment value. I've never done that. Never done it. That would be weird for me to do that, myself personally. I'm not saying that other people are weird. I'm just saying it's something I could never do myself. In my heart of hearts. So, I mean, you learn some things. One thing about gardening is, it's like a lot of things, the more time you spend on it, the more effort you put in, the more you'll get out of your garden. And, you know, there's a lot of, everybody's yard is a different situation, and being a renter, I'm kind of stuck with the yards I'm renting from. If I ever owned a house, lawn around it, or at least, you know, garden area, I knew what kind of landscape I would want. You know, and different kinds of landscapes are better for certain kinds of plants. Um, some part of me is kind of more inclined to go more into the tree route, just have a bunch of fruit trees along with strawberries. Fruit's great because it just keeps producing fruit year after year. You don't have to replant everything. But vegetables are super healthy, and I guess you have the seeds still that can be replanted. Smells like that mix of what does that smell? It's like, well, anyway, we have more Halloween stuff down this way. Like this cul-de-sac, this house is lit up for Halloween, for sure. Okay. So, I mean, I'm still getting strawberries. I'm still getting squashes, zucchinis, and it's pretty great. But I'm kind of in semi-dead mode. Kind of like, if at this point in October my plants are not producing a ton of stuff, I'm okay with that because they did phenomenally this summer. We had a lot of sun in the early fall. I need to spend more time doing other things now. So, I've had some hard things that happened today. I lost a music student that was one of my, I would say, better ones, but this was a very unique student that has had a great deal of emotional stuff happening in her life. And a lot of struggles. Most things I don't even know about. She's done a darn good job dealing with it since I taught her. And it was an interesting thing. It's I don't have people sign contracts regarding how long they're going to take lessons with me. People can quit lessons for all kinds of reasons. I just appreciate it if they don't, or they stay with me for a while, And so I want serious students, but I don't mind teaching hobbyists. I guess you could say that. It sounds a little bit insulting, but what I mean is I can teach very serious students and I can teach less serious students. That's totally fine either way. But most people, vast majority of people, are on some level not super serious about music anyway. So it's like, and people that are super serious about it, there's a side to that gets a little bit distorted about life, which I'm going to talk about. Everybody needs to be in touch with what it is they like about what they do, because there's what you're good at, there's the things that you do, but then there's always reasons why. If you lose sight of why you're doing something in the first place, it can lead to some issues down the road. But it just depends on the person. Some people don't really have to deal with that, but other people do. Everybody's different, and I'm not saying one way of being is better than the other. I'm just saying some people really just don't. Some people just look for a job that they get paid a bunch of money and has great benefits, and all those things in life that a lot of people are looking for, and have the traditional hobbies. But there are many people that aren't that way, or some kind of variation on that. Some people care very much about things that are not tangible. Yeah. And, some people, like the idea of sports in the United States, coaches that get so into what they're doing that they expect little boys, or heck, even teenage young men, expect these guys to be at their practices every single day for hours and hours and hours, and go home, have dinner, and do their homework. That's what they're doing Monday through Friday, and then there's games on Saturday. Good grief, man. But that's what happens with some sports organizations. And yeah, it sounds more serious, sure, but I mean, it's like, it's sports. I mean, at some level we start debating the cultural value between like sports and music, and it's the age-old debate, right? The thing is that they're both important. They both have their place. We're not saying that either one of them is a waste of time. Certainly not that. Quite the opposite. But what we're trying to, the coach is expecting way too much time and effort. I mean, it's just an insane amount of time. I mean, but think of, there's the idea of music lessons, right? In Korea, or in Asia in general, but in Korea, China, Japan, if you're not, for a lot of parents, if you're not practicing an hour a day, at least, or you're not going to be taking music lessons. So it's like, whoa. Usually, in our American way, we try to be accommodating to everybody. It's like a half hour. It's a bit, not quite as, oh boy, but it's a cultural thing. It absolutely is a cultural thing. If I was in Asia, I guess I would only be teaching very serious musicians, or at least more serious than the United States. It's a cultural thing. It's the way the parents are. It's the way that the society is. There's nothing wrong with it. Some people practice for hours and hours a day, and they do their homework, and that's their life. And they maybe have a few friends, and people wonder why they're able to play so well. And well, it depends on the person, of course, and their natural aptitudes. But it's like, well, yeah, they're practicing 3 hours a day. That's why they sound so stinking good. Plus, they have often very high IQs. Generally speaking, if someone's practicing that much, it would be very unlikely for them to be kind of not so bright kids. I'm actually very glad that I'm out just talking and doing this stuff right now, because I needed to get out, do something. Yeah. So, I have no worries about filling in that time. Filling in the time will be a piece of cake. It's already happening. And then, I'm wondering, I've committed to be in Thalia Symphony Orchestra at least. I've been in Thalia Symphony Orchestra for years. Maybe it's time that I'm done with Thalia at some point. I don't know. It's a little bit like, we'll just see how it goes. I've always had a great time in Thalia. I certainly was overworked. I don't know about overworked. I think it was not good vibes in Seattle Philharmonic for a lot of reasons. But it obviously is nothing personal. It's just the way that the Seattle Philharmonic was run. Yeah. Well, anyway. Yeah. I just, in life, I try to keep my head where it ought to be. I try to figure out what's actually going on. I'm always trying to do that on some level. Like, what's actually going on here with this person? Or there are people I still, people that are renters at my house, man, that are, very intelligent people. I'm thinking of one in particular here, but he really does a good job misunderstanding what I'm saying quite a bit of the time. But I think that was also kind of the case for majority of people he's known in his life. So I mean, it's like, go figure. I mean, he's not especially astute in that way. This guy doesn't get it. I mean, but hey, I mean, like, everybody's a different. Everybody's, to use a Sammy Davis Jr. word, everybody's a different cat. I like it because it's like, yeah, if I knew Sammy Davis Jr., that'd be, I mean, he's so cool. I mean, like, I would love to do some musical stuff with Sammy Davis. Love to do it. We would just do all show tunes. We do all the stuff he wanted to do. I mean, I don't care. We could do everything he wanted to sing, anything and everything. Maybe, I'm sure we do some stuff that I like more. But I mean, like, Sammy's amazing. So why can't more people be like Sammy Davis Jr.? Well, I didn't want to talk about this, but now that I'm mentioning Sammy Davis Jr., this is the thing about performers, right? You only see what's on the camera, right? It's always how it is with actors and actresses, and musicians and singers, well, pop singers, especially. If you only see somebody in concert, that smells good. There's some plant that smells really good, by the way. If all you ever see is some performance, or what people are like on camera, you never see them off camera, it's like... But the reason why we can safely say that Sammy Davis is a very likable person is because we kind of see how we can feel inside of our hearts how genuine he always has been. And he is a genuine person. Why, I wonder how often it happens when people, well, heck, I mean, it happens face-to-face communication, and it's true that face-to-face communication is always, you get to know people generally better than if you just see somebody on TV or some actress that you love or whatever. Yeah, but the thing is that people can be very deceptive in real life as well. People can only show one side of themselves, or certain sides of themselves, to certain people for years and years and years. And those people would never know, that a person had other sides to them. Because maybe that person didn't feel those other sides were going to be as liked as these other sides. And so, it's a funny thing how that works out, isn't it? It's a funny thing. I know Western Washington liberals like the back of my hand. And I would be overjoyed spending the rest of my life around conservatives, no matter where they live in the world. If they're more conservative than the Washingtonians, I'll be a happy camper. The nice thing is, vast majority of people in the world are more conservative than Western Washingtonians. Western Washingtonians are freaking liberal. Very, very liberal people. Very. I'm not saying it's always a bad thing, but being liberal has its stuff, I can only really get along and like liberal people if they're good people to begin with, if they have good souls, kind hearts, and they have their heads on straight. And that's the same way it is with conservatives too. Why would this be any different? It's just that with conservatives, there's kind of this added, oh yeah, this is more the kind of um, environment. It's just more in line with the kind of environment I grew up with, and I loved in my own family. It feels more conservative. My family growing up felt more conservative on the whole. It always did compared to probably the majority of kids I knew growing up. And the whole term liberal can mean different things, but one of the things it increasingly means is somebody who's doesn't believe in anything traditional, which is not exactly the precise definition of the word, but we're talking about these social sciencey, humanities type words. Definitions are going to change all the time. Liberal just does not always accept that the way things have been in societies are the way things should be. And in a way, I'm a liberal. I'm very much a liberal that way, because I don't believe that the way things have been in societies are always the way things should be. There are things it smells so good. I love this house. What is that? Is that the tree? It has a distinctive smell to it. Man, it smells so good. Oh, I wish you guys could smell this tree. It's nice. Anyway. That wasn't all I want to talk about. Of course, there's other things. I might go for a longer walk tonight. I feel kind of like that people need to believe in things that are unseen, that are true. Everyone needs to be able to do that, because if you base your life only on things that you can see, touch, feel, smell, taste, I'm not saying it was without meaning, but somebody's selling a trailer or something like that. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I think there was this poem or story I wrote. No, it was a story I read. Some kind of work of prose in school when I was younger, and it was might have involved an African American family. I'm not sure. Maybe they're white. I can't really remember. But there's somebody. It was kind of like it was involving a family that just didn't ever really talk about much of anything of real importance. They were just into their creature comforts. Creature comforts, day in, day out, do what you gotta do, go to school, do your homework, don't be mean. And then dad went to his job, came home, dinner. And they liked material things, and the feeling you had after reading this little thing, this little work of prose was, and you don't know. I think this, as far as I know, I think this person was speaking autobiographically, but you feel sad. You feel like, oh, this person feels an emptiness in their life. Well, that emptiness has something to do with what? It has probably something to do with, well, there's a social emptiness, someone can get when they're not socializing a whole lot. There's also a spiritual emptiness that can come when someone's just not feeling spiritual. They're not, whether they're doing a lot of bad things, or they're not involved in a lot of good things, spiritually speaking. And there's an emotional emptiness that somehow is connected with the first two. And also it's like, what are you doing to feed your emotions every day? What are you doing to be emotionally healthy? This is something that we hear a lot, is being emotionally healthy by involving the brain and doing various things to kind of keep your brain, and your heart in good shape. A lot of good stuff. So, one sec here. Another Halloween house here. Maybe like a part 2 in a bit. So then there's feeling a lack of purpose in life, or like you're asking the question, like, what's it all for? Why do you get up in the morning? Why not just stay in bed and the heck with everything else? Just don't call anybody, kick you out of your place, be homeless, why not? Just heck with everything, heck with everybody and everything. Well, I only think that way when I know that there's a space of time where I can think that way. If I have priorities, I have priorities, and they have to be met. Unless I don't want them anymore, and as an adult I don't have to have anything I don't want. It's just that some things I do have a great deal to do with my connection with my parents, by the way. So, parents are always a thing. But at some point in my life, I know my parents will be dead. And at that point, I don't know. It's kind of like, as one increases in years, I would imagine that there's probably an increased capacity to handle things that are more stressful. Sure. In general, I think that would be the case. Because you've just experienced more. You have much more to go off of, and you've been through more stuff. You can't expect a 20-year-old to handle things the same way as a 50-year-old. Or a 50-year-old versus an 80-year-old. The only difference is the 80-year-old sometimes not very fit and fiddle, and whatever. But anyway, what did I want to mention? I guess it's just kind of like, I don't feel like a little boy anymore. Not even just a young man right out of college. I have some life experience. Some. There's still a lot of things I haven't experienced yet. And experience is a great teacher, but experience gives you experience. Experience gives you experience. Experience can give you maturity, but it's this making correct choices good choices is one of the best things anybody can do. But it's kind of like, what is it? Was this a Mel Brooks quote? If you eat your Wheaties or something like that, and it's like the number of things that you need to do every day to just be doing fine is not really that many at all. And Mel Brooks's list was sure, but I mean, he has a point. It's like there's so many things we can fill our lives with, and it's up to us. The older we get, the more we kind of can do what we want to do. But But everything has consequences, right? Whether they're good or bad. We just don't always know what they are, and so that's why we want to know what they are before. But there's a lot of chance in life. Well, I'm gonna make another video here in a second. Catch you later. Take care.